tutorials on the 2010 census and 2020 census early preparations. Other roles include 2020 Statistics in Schools program outreach and engagement with pre-K through 12 educational organizations, education efforts to facilitate broad use of the Census Bureau's data products by providing training, workshop, presentation, and webinars to businesses, educational organizations, community and faith-based organizations on using data tools and apps to access census data from the decennial census, economic census, and the American Community Survey. Thanks very much for joining us here today, Mr. Mendoza. Feel free to take it away.
Thank you, Kimberly, and thanks everyone for joining the conference today. We do, the Data Dissemination Branch, we do conduct a lot of trainings. Most of them are in person, but in light of the recent issues now, we are bound to do this virtually, and we are continue to do that. All of the data dissemination staff is homebound, and conducting a lot of training from home. But we're hoping that things will be relaxed soon, because I believe, it's my personal preference, that that this type of trainings are conducted face to face. So, we're gonna go ahead and start with this. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm simply going to do this live directly on our website and show you some of the tools that are easy to use. And a little bit of background, we decommissioned the American Fact Finder. So if you are a traditional frequent data user, you probably already know this, and you probably are experiencing some of the frustrations in adopting the new system. The system has not been fully implemented. While we have migrated most of the data, and the new releases are on the new platform, which is data.census.gov, we're still wrestling with some of the issues. It's a completely different platform than it was before. Essentially, I believe IBM had the contract expired, and now the Census Bureau is developing this new tool. So we're learning as we go. So this is designed just to give you a brief overview. The data dissemination team is about 30 individuals throughout the country that provide this type of training free of cost to you. And we do it, again, virtually right now, but we do a lot of these workshops in person. We can also provide support via email if you have a simple question, or we can provide support on the phone. So let me just go ahead and share my screen, and I'm gonna go directly into our website. And if you haven't been there, the URL for the Census Bureau webpage is census.gov. It's a very colorful and it's a very informative page. But again, if you're not a frequent data user, where would you go to find the percentage of high school graduates in Los Angeles? Not very intuitive. Again, it's well designed. We are in the midst of the 2020 census, so it's very prominent on our page how you can respond. We have some COVID-19 information. Right here on the right-hand side, we have a population clock. I'm gonna click on it, and it's gonna bring us to the landing page to the US and the world population. So right now, in the US, there's approximately 329 million people. And the way that we do this, we do a population estimates every year, and we take into account birth rate, death rate, migration, that produces an end gain. So in the US, there's one birth every 8 seconds, as you can see in this graph. There's one death every 12 seconds, and there's one international migrant net every 46 seconds, which yields a net gain of one person every 17 seconds. If we scroll down the page, we can see the annual population estimates, and you can see the tree on the right-hand side and the distribution between males and females. Scroll down further down the page, you can see the most populous states like California, which is estimated that we are at 39.5 million, followed by Texas, Florida, and so forth. And then you can see the additional states on this side. A little bit of information with regards to the population clock. I'm going to go back to the main page by simply clicking on our census logo. I'm going to show you a couple of things. So the main data tools are right here under Explore Data. And here you can go directly into the landing page to the data tools that we offer. As I mentioned, the American Fact Finder was replaced by a system called data.census.gov, which is right here on this landing page. And if you want to know all the documentation, all the documentation and the history in terms of the development of the site is right here under data. What is data.census.gov? Here you can see that there are news and updates. We have frequently asked questions. We have how-to materials for using censusdata.gov, and then how to use the microdata access. I'm going to show you that the easiest ways to find data quickly with a few clicks. First, I'm going to click on this data profiles. And the default is the United States. So you can see that the population is 327 million. The median household income for the US is 61,937. The poverty rate is a percentage. And if you scroll down the page, you can see other characteristics in the United States. You can either scroll down the page or you can simply select the links on the left-hand side. Like in this case, I'm gonna click on race and ethnicity. And then here it shows that white alone is 72%, 72.2% of the US population. The Black or African American alone is 12.7, and so forth. Again, we're looking at the United States. If you want to drill down to a specific geography, you can start at the top of the page and type in the search bar the geography that you're looking for. In this case, I'm going to type Los Angeles. So Los Angeles County, California. You can see there are other geographies related to Los Angeles. So Los Angeles CCD, Los Angeles City, San Fernando CCD, Southgate East Los Angeles. But if in this case, I'm just going to select Los Angeles County. And again, you have the data for the county in Los Angeles. Again, with the same characteristics that were displayed for the US. We can look at educational attainment. If you click on the data table, which is right here, there's a hyperlink to the data table. DP stands for data profile. It'll open the table for that data in that geography. So here's a data table, the demographic profile for the Los Angeles County. You can either choose to display the margin of error or not. By the way, this comes from, most of the data that I'm gonna show you comes from the American Community Survey. There are two periods. There are, in this case, the default is the 5-year estimates, which is 2014, 2018. But if you click down on this drop-down arrow, you can go back in time and look at all the vintages of the data, either for the 5-year estimates or the 1-year estimates. The 1-year estimates are for populations of 65,000 or more. The 5-year estimates are for all levels of geographies. The smallest geography level from the American Community Survey data is the Black group data, but we don't recommend to use Black group. The margins of error sometimes are significantly larger. The differences between the two estimates, the 1-year estimates are more recent, but less accurate. The 5-year estimates are less recent, but more accurate. And it's simple statistics. In the 5-year estimates, there's a larger window of data collection, so the sample is a lot bigger than the 1-year estimates. One of the good features that are an improvement over the American Fact Finder is that now you're able to select data in a group. Let's say that you want to, look at the educational attainment data. You don't want to display the margin of error. You simply click on this button, and now you only have the estimate and the percentage. A nice feature now is that you are able now to right-click and select the data that you want. I'm going to select educational attainment, and you simply drag the mouse, select that data, right-click, and then here you have a couple of options. You can simply copy the cells. You could copy the cells with the headers, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm gonna copy that. And you can export that into an Excel file, or you can export the table into a CSV file or to Excel directly. So again, this is a new feature that was not available on the American Fact Finder that makes it really easy to grab the data that you're interested in, whether you want the full table or you want just specific characteristics of the population, in this case, Los Angeles County. I am hoping that the system is going to be playing nice today, because one of the things that we still continuing to improve is the mapping feature. So when you click on map, oh, they did fix that, because before when you click map, it actually took you down to the center of the country, somewhere in Kansas, and people got confused. So you can quickly create a map and a legend of the data that you were looking at. Again, you can go back in time and look at other periods for the American Community Survey. You can change your geography. So if you want to look at a place is a city or an incorporated city. And we have a tendency to confuse people. Sometimes we call it cities. Unincorporated areas are followed by an acronym that says CDP, or it's a census designated place. So I'm going to click on place, which includes all the incorporated and unincorporated cities within the county of Los Angeles. I'm going to go back to where we started. Again, there are a number of frequently asked used questions. It tells you what happened with American Fact Finder, which again, it was decommissioned on March of this year. So all of the data is now being published from data.census.gov, including the coming up data being released from the decennial census in 2010.
It's 4 o'clock.
One of the tools that I like a lot, because it's fairly easy to use, although it doesn't show you a lot of granular data, is called Quick Facts. And it is called Quick Facts because it is quick. And it's right down the page. I'm going to click on Quick Facts. And again, the default is the United States. This tool allows you to select up to 6 geographies side by side. So again, the US is the default. I'm going to simply type Los Angeles in this search box. I'm going to select Los Angeles City. And you can see the data displayed side by side, the United States with Los Angeles City. If you don't want to look at the United States, you can simply deselect that and add another city. I don't know, I'm gonna add Burbank. By the way, there's a limitation with this tool. It's only for populations 5,000 and above. So that's the threshold for this tool. But you can see there are 60 lines of data from several programs from the Census Bureau, including the population estimates. We have some housing characteristics, family and living arrangements. We have computer and internet use. Right now, significant because, as I mentioned earlier in the prior panel, the Census Bureau for the first time is using the internet. So this is good data to find out where might be segments of the population where the internet use or computer use may be lacking. We have educational attainment. We have economy statistics from the economic census, economic income and poverty, and then some data for businesses. I'm going to simply deselect Burbank and work with Los Angeles City for simplicity purposes. But let's say that you were interested in the Hispanic or Latino population. You click on that link. And now we have data for the Hispanic and Latino population. At the top, you have various tools that you can look at the data in several formats. Right now we're looking at the table, but we can also map that information. So I'm going to click on map. And I'm hoping that it's going to work. It is working. So you can see that what's displaying on the side is the distribution of the Hispanic or Latino population throughout California. And you can simply hover over your mouse pointer, and you can see that San Clemente City in Orange County has a 17.1% Hispanic or Latino. You can look at the next tool, which is a chart. So you can look at a chart in a chart format. And now we have the cities listed here below with LA City at the top. You can see the Acton, that's what I was referring earlier, is a census designated place. That is a city that is not incorporated. The other tool that allows you to see the 3 cohorts, you can click on dashboard, and now you can see the table, you can see the map, and you can see the chart in one place. So again, this is quick facts. And I will be happy to take any questions specifically if somebody wants to do a specific search. But in the meantime, I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to show you, yes.
Sorry, sir. We have a quick question from Sarah Hudson.
Yes.
Are other geographies available, such as school districts?
There are, yes, they are. And I'll show you how to get school district data when we go back and look at the main data, census.gov. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you another tool that not a lot of people know. It's not on the data tools and apps. It's actually directly from the American Community Survey. And what I did, I just went back to the landing page, which is census.gov. And the easiest way to get to this tool that I'm going to show you is called the narrative profile from the American Community Survey. The easiest way to do that is by simply searching for ACS, or the acronym for the American Community Survey. Click, and the first option should be the American Community Survey. And for those of you that are not familiar with the American Community Survey, the American Community Survey replaced the long form in the decennial census. Between 1940 and 2000, every 10 years we had two forms. We had a short form that has basic demographic information of the household, and we had a long form that was sent out to a sample of the population. In 2000, 1 in 6 houses received the long form that collected a lot of detailed characteristics of the household: income, poverty, educational attainment. Those questions were not asked in the short form. So in 2005, the American Community Survey was implemented and replaced the long form. One of the big benefits of the American Community Survey is that you can find data at a very small geographic level. So I mentioned the Census Track before, and you can compare apples to apples because we use the same methodology. So you can compare a census tract to the US, you can compare a census tract within the city that the census tract resides, and so forth. I wanted to show you this specific tool because it's probably the only tool, or one of the only tools that we have already. The statistics are described in a non-technical form, and it has some built-in graphics on it. I'm going to click data, and then I'm going to click and select the narrative profiles. And again, this comes from the American Community Survey 5-year estimates. You're going to have, as a default, the 2018 data, which is the latest. But again, you can go back in time and create a narrative profile for the other periods. The data is available to nation, state, county, place. I already mentioned what place is, census tract, zip code tabulation area, metro and micropolitan statistical area, and American Indian, Alaska Native, Hawaiian homeland. Those are the options in geography. These you can only select one at a time. I'm going to select place. I'm going to tell the system where that place is. In this case, California. And again, I'm going to look for Los Angeles. So here are all the CDPs and incorporated areas in California. I'm going to simply click Los Angeles City and get the narrative profile. System is going to think for a minute or so, and it'll generate a narrative profile that has about 40 characteristics for Los Angeles City. Here you have households and families. So in 2014 through 2018, there were 1.4 million houses in Los Angeles City, California. And the average household size was 2.82 people per person. We have the type of households and marital composition, so married couples, other families, people living alone, and other family households. Marital status. You may have heard that there's a controversy about the citizenship question being included in the 2020 census, which was struck down by the Supreme Court. However, the American Community Survey has been asking the question since the survey was implemented. So here we have the nativity and foreign-born population statistics. So there's an estimated that 62.7% of the people living in LA, California, in LA City in California, 46.2 were natives, with approximately 37.3% of the foreign-born population. And then of the foreign-born population, 47% became naturalized US citizen. Here's the region of birth, so Latin America, Asia, Europe, Africa, Oceania. Language spoken at home. I'm sorry, The percentage of the population 5 years and over who speak a language other than home in Los Angeles City, so Spanish is pretty prevalent at 42%, 7% other Indo-European languages, 8.5%, Asian and Pacific Islander languages, and then something else. Geographic mobility tells us the percentage of people that live in the same household as a year ago, whether they move from the same county, different county, same state, different state, or from abroad. Below is the educational attainment. The less than high school diploma is what is considered the high school dropout rate. This is for the population that is 25 years and over. Approximately 22.1% have a bachelor's degree. Here's disability status, employment status, type of employer, industry. So it's a very comprehensive report that, again, has already some built-in graphics in it. I'm going to go back to the main page and go back to Explore Data Main. And scroll down to the Census Academy webpage, which is a page that publishes short videos on how to, typically 2 to 3 minutes videos that explain ways to access data. In this case, here is one that we produce about responding to the 2020 census. And I'm just going to simply click on it. We call them data gems. This happens to be another data dissemination person that is based in the East Coast. And she describes how the response rates.
Hi, I am Alexandra Barker. We are in the midst of the 2020 census, and I would like to know how my town is responding to the 2020 census in comparison to other areas. So I asked my colleague, Vasquez, to show us how to use the rankings dashboard of the 2020 census self-response rate map. Let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Vasquez. I am a data visualization lead with the United States Census Bureau. And today I wanted to walk you through a brief example of how to utilize our rankings dashboard, which accompanies the 2020 census self-response rate map. So here we're starting off on the response rates map page. And as I scroll down, I see the title of the visualization. And here in the subtitle, you see a link to get to the rankings. So I'm going to click on that link. And it'll open into another tab. And there you see the rankings dashboard. Now for today's example, I just briefly want to highlight the power of the population range in establishing your own. In this case, by overriding the beginning of the population range and typing in my own value of 250,000, pressing enter, I'm going to reestablish the rankings, and this time they'll reflect counties and cities of 250,000 or more people. You see that in the city rankings, Lincoln, Nebraska is in first position, followed by Madison, Wisconsin, and then third is Seattle, Washington. Furthermore, you can take it from this point and kick out to the map of Lincoln, Nebraska by clicking on this link you see here. This in turn will reopen the self-response rate map, but this time a dedicated view of all census tracts fully or partially within Lincoln, Nebraska. From this point, you can continue to navigate, hover or click different areas to get information, and so on and so forth. We hope you found this example helpful. Thank you very much.
Yes, Jerson, it was very helpful. I'm ready to explore. And you, don't forget to respond to the 2020 census and check how your community is doing. For more videos like this, visit census.gov/academy and subscribe. Thank you.
So again, these are very easy, very short how-to videos, and we have a number of this type of data gems, how to access raising data using the new platform data.census.gov. And again, it is a very useful way to learn quickly about a specific subject. We also have a number of webinars. There are either upcoming and specific topics. So here are something that actually happened today, which was the economic census update for accommodation and food services sector. We have one coming up, Exploring Census Data webinar series and the economy geography. So far, we have one coming up on COVID-19 and demographic and economic resources using census data and so forth. We also have recorded webinars. These are webinars that, again, topic specific, that have that you can have access at your own page and several subjects. And specifically right now, because of COVID-19, we are actually conducting a lot of webinars and various subjects, not only on demographic information, we also have a lot of economic data coming out, because we also do an economic census in years that end in 2 and in 7. We completed the 2017 economic census and we released the data on a flow basis. So we're continually updating the public in terms of results for the economic census. I'm gonna go back to Explore Data Main and address the question about can we get data for school districts? This is the landing page for the main data tools. And again, they're all listed down here. I already show you quick facts. There's other tools, including the Census Business Builder, the Census Response Map that Alexandra and Gerson show you. But I'm going to go back to the data.census.gov and show you how you can get data at the school district level. Here, there's also a very easy way to find data for a geography on a specific subject. You can simply tell the systems what you're looking for. So I'm looking at Los Angeles, and I want to know veterans data, and search. So here, again, simply with a couple of clicks, we have data on veteran status in Los Angeles County. So 3.2% are veterans in Los Angeles County. And then here are the periods of service, so the different wards. We have sex by age and veteran status. We have some mapping features. We have some other links here to the census test that we did in 2016. But I'm going to go back. Again, this is the quick, easy way to find data for specific geography and specific characteristic. To find school district data, we want to go to advanced search. And then we're gonna click on geography. This is going to open all the geography levels available. So I'm gonna go here and look at an elementary school district. We need to tell the system where in the country, and then which school district. I wish I could use, I tried this earlier and it didn't work. So I'm not gonna select all school districts in California because the system ran into an issue. I'm just simply going to type or look for a specific school district. And if the caller wants to volunteer the school district that he or she may want to look at, then I can select that, or I can just select one at random.
They didn't specify, so you can use any example, I think.
Okay, so I don't know where the school districts are. I'm just going to select one randomly, Alexander Valley School District. Simply select that and then click on search. And again, these are some of the issues that we are dealing with. I don't know. I selected a school district within California, and I'm getting government units in the US. Let's see. Yeah, I apologize. Again, system's still under development, and we are running into issues. We begin a search and we go into the dead end. I highly encourage you, because again, the system is being developed and improved. I encourage you to, when you run into an issue like this, to send us feedback. And it's right here in this little lower section box where you can actually click on that link, and it creates an email that sends it directly to the developers of the system to make us aware of the things that aren't working within the system. And believe me, they do pay attention. They do pay attention to the feedback that we get from you. In fact, a lot of data users have been instrumental in developing and helping to resolve many of the issues that we have with the system. I'm going to use,
question.
Yes.
Is there a way to find out income demographics within a city, such as how many people fall within a certain AMI percentage, such as low income, et cetera?
So we have information on poverty. I'm going to, and again, I'm hoping that the system is going to play nice. I'm going to look at a quick search, Los Angeles County, and simply look at poverty. We should be able to get that data. So here are some poverty data for Los Angeles County. This happens to be, and if you're working with this data, I highly recommend two things. Use Chrome, and if you are constantly looking at poverty data, I highly recommend that you make a note of the table number, which is right here. And that'll simplify the search. I'm gonna open the table, and here's data, poverty data for the Los Angeles County for the past 12 months. Same as before, and again, one of the things that I do like about this new system is that you can simply select by dragging your mouse and selecting the data that you are interested in, and export it into, copy the cells, and then export them into Excel. You can copy the cells with the headers, meaning that when you export the data into Excel, it's going to look exactly the way that you are looking at the screen. Or you can export the table into a CSV file or an Excel file. Is that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay.
We have another one.
Yes.
The narrative profile that you showed before when we were diving into the data, can that be exported?
So the narrative profile, again, is a really nice report because it's well formatted. It describes the statistics in a non-technical form. That is a fairly new product that was available to be exported into a PDF file. On this version, currently is not, but there's a way that you can do it just simply by selecting the area that you want the narrative profile for. And once the system generates the narrative profile, simply use a Control-P on your computer, and it's going to print something that is similar to a PDF file. We are working on implementing the PDF function to download it into a PDF. So that should be coming up as an enhancement to the system.
And then I'd like to welcome other folks to enter questions into the chat box.
Sure. While we're waiting for more questions, I want to put an ad for the Data Dissemination Branch from the Census Bureau. The Data Dissemination Branch was implemented right after the decennial census in 2010, because typically what the Census Bureau has done in the past, we conduct the census, is very prominent. There's all over the news. There are conferences where the census is highlighted. We hire a tremendous amount of people, over 500,000 people in 2010. We conduct the census. We provide the numbers to the president by law on December 31st of the decade. And then the Census Bureau goes away for 10 years. After the decennial census in 2010, the census began to think like a business and began to use terms in business like a return on the investment, and other business statistics. And they created the data dissemination program that had an evergreen effort, an evergreen outreach to people to teach people how to access this data. So what I'm telling you right now is there are a number of people, data dissemination individuals throughout the country, that can provide you support, again, via email, on the phone. We can come out to your organizations when this COVID-19 gets under the control, and we provide those workshops free of cost. We can also do it in a format like we're using today. But again, I think that for me personally, I think an in-person workshop where you can sit with several individuals with a computer in the same room, I think it's more effective than doing it, virtually. Do we have any other questions?
Can you show some of the mapping functionalities again?
Sure. So I'm going to go back and actually I'm going to go back to the main page here. And I'm going to use the quick facts. Again, is there a specific geography and characteristic that the caller might want to look at?
Census tracks.
That is going to be, but I'll give it a shot. So in that case, I need to go back to, because remember what I mentioned earlier, quick facts, the threshold is 5,000. Census tracks don't meet that threshold sometimes. So I'm going to go back and use the main search engine, which is data.census.gov. And again, I'm a little ambivalent about this because this is exactly one of the examples that I wanted to use. I'm going to click on advanced search. I'm going to click on geography. And then the geography, I'm going to click on census track. And of course, I need to tell the system where is the census tract located. So in this case, California. I'm going to look at, let's say, LA County. And I want to look at all the census tract within LA County. And I hope that the system is going to play nice. And then once you have that selected, you can see right here, our selection is right at the bottom. Now we're gonna go and search. So this didn't work. I'm hoping that this is going to work. So here's a mapping feature. This is one of the quirky things. So when you select census tract, the map is showing us somewhere in the middle of the country in Kansas, somewhere in Kansas. You have to grab the mouse and scroll back, go across the country, and your census tract should be highlighted in here. Going to Sorry. Sorry, it took me back. And I lost my geography selection. Yeah. It's not cooperating very nicely. I'm going to go to a smaller geography here. I'm sorry, you know, everything that is Murphy's laws, everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to do it. Something has gone wrong with the system, and I don't know what it is. But you can see right here that there's overlapping, and it's showing only Butte County. For the person that wants to know about this data, please send me an email, and I'll be happy to. Well, first I need to find out what the issue is. And then once I find out that issue, then I can call you directly, and we can create a one-on-one webinar, and I can walk you through how to get the data that you're looking for. And again, I'm sorry, I apologize for the issues that we're encountering.
Thanks for trying to make that work. We do have another question.
Yes.
Who should we contact to set up the workshop?
So currently there are some data dissemination specialists that migrated to work on the 2020 census. Right now I'm covering the entire state of California, so they can contact me directly. And my email address is very simple. It's my first name, ARMANDO .Mendoza, MENDOZA, at census.gov. And I'll be happy to, again, right now we're homebound. I'll be happy to provide support that you need, particularly with the system that has some quirky things going on. But if you send me an email and you tell me I'm looking for this specifically, then I can do the research prior to getting into a webinar, and then I can then have the answers for you, you know, instead of running into these issues, because it's quite frustrating, and I'm sure it's quite frustrating for you as well. The people that are frequent data users are having a hard time embracing the new system. It's going to get better. We did the same thing in 2010. We were using a system called American Fact Finder, and right in the midst of the decennial census in 2010, we were implementing the American Fact Finder 2, which was completely different, and people have a natural resistance to change. Plus quirky things like this don't help. But eventually people got adjusted to the American Fact Finder, and then here we come and we change the system completely to a new platform, which has, you know, is a huge history behind it because of contracts and so forth. But again, I apologize for for that. Are there any other questions?
Let's see, at this time, no, but thank you for showing the functionality of the website. I can see that there's a lot of value there beyond American Fact Finder too, and especially the narrative piece and the functionality to be able to copy data directly from the tables and
Yes.
export from there. We're hearing in the chat that that's something that provides a lot of value and will save a lot of people a lot of time.
Great. So yeah, I apologize. We're gonna end up a little short of the hour, but I don't want to get any more frustrated and get you frustrated again. I apologize. I promise that I will give you the support that that you need, and if I don't have the answers, I'll be happy to guide you on the right way. I don't know how many people are listening right now, but I'd imagine there's quite a few of them. And it is my hope that by the time we begin to release the 2020 census data, everything will be functional and will be easier. Again, the data dissemination team will be ready to be deployed in anywhere in the country. Again, we had 36 at the peak, and again, some of the people migrated to help with the 2020 census, but then we should be able to be fully staffed and be able to provide you the support that you need, whatever you are in the country. So right now I'm covering California again. So if you, which I don't envision, but there are other people from other states, if there are, then I'll be happy to link you in with a person that is covering your state or your local area.
Thank you, Ms. Mendoza. That's really good to know that you can provide those type of resources and serve as that point of contact for the people of California. It's much appreciated. Want to welcome everyone to give Mr. Mendoza a hand, especially for taking the time to present to us this really important and really valuable resource. We know that systems improve when people use them. And so I welcome everyone to test out the system and also report any bugs that you find. That's the only way that things get better, right? With feedback. So thank you very much, Mr. Mendoza, for taking the time and for providing that excellent presentation. And if other people want to stay in the room and provide questions, we're happy to take them right now. The rest of you, feel free to go about your day. And thanks very much for participating in the demographic workshop.